not only did I have my own internal doubts about this, but everywhere I turned, everyone that I met, every resource I found was just kind of saying like, don't get your hopes up too high, you know? And I felt like twin moms deserve better than that.
Hello, and welcome to the Twin Mom Life Podcast. I'm your host, Jess. I created this podcast to help build community, connection, and most importantly, friendships among moms of multiples. Being a twin mom can be amazing and magical. That twin bond is unlike anything I've ever witnessed, but it can also be isolating and overwhelming. I'll be chatting with other twin moms, diving deep into the twin experience, giving advice on what works for us so you don't have to learn the hard way. Juggling two babies at the same time is challenging, but I'm confident we can learn from each other and figure out how to raise these babies together. I'm so happy to have you on the podcast. Welcome, Alaina. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm so glad to be here.
Yes, me too. So we have Alaina from Nurturing Twins today. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so I'm a mom to 2.5-year-old die identical girl twins, so our kids are pretty close in age. Um, I am a nurture neuroscience practitioner in training, and I'm passionate about supporting and uniting mothers with their babies and resourcing moms of multiples to be confident and supported in navigating their motherhood and in attachment-focused way.
And I can't wait to get into it. I feel like all the resources that you offer, like your sleep guide, your village community, it's just all stuff that moms really need. And I know we're talking about this off air. There's a lot of resources that are not twin specific. And I love that you saw that there was lacking and that you created it. So before we really dive into it, I always try to ask every mom what they did today to fill their own cup, or if you have plans to do that later. So, any plans to fill your cup today?
Yeah. So earlier today, we had our monthly mother circle within the Nurturing Twins Village. And that is
Mm,
always my favorite call that I hop on every month because it's just a connected, beautiful, life giving moment to bond with other moms who are navigating the same experiences that I am, maybe at different ages or stages of development with their babies, but it's just magical when twin moms get together, right? When we are able to lock eyes with each other and say, I see you, I see what we're doing together. This is a worthy effort that we're doing. And yeah, just to hold space. So that was incredibly nourishing for me. And I had a big
mm.
cup of coffee alongside it because eternally tired. That's
Yes, twin toddlers will
mothering
do that for
toddlers will
you.
do that for you. Yes.
Absolutely. Well, I love that. Community is so important. So tomorrow we have an in-person twin mom play date. I'm so excited.
I'm so excited for you.
Yeah, it's been so fun. We had one 2 months ago. It was so great. I was so nervous, like, I'm gonna show up and be the only one there with my kids, and it sold out. Like, it's just
It's
like,
amazing.
moms want community, and so I'm excited for the one tomorrow. We'll see how it goes. So for me, that's gonna fill my cup. I'm really looking forward to that as well. And today, I was telling you this earlier offline, but my daughter had her kinder graduation pictures today, and I got to go volunteer and help with that, and it was so precious and sweet. All of these kindergartners are so excited and maybe a little nervous. Like, I feel like my
Of
daughter looks a
course.
little bit scared in her picture, but, they have on the cap and gown, and they're holding a little diploma. It's so sweet. So
So emotional. Oh my goodness.
yes! It's been a little bit of an emotional day, like, with that. And my daughter's, like, first tooth is loose. I I'm like, "I'm not ready for these
Yeah.
big, like, milestones." I feel like
Yes. I feel like sometimes they do just all hit at once too. Like, I remember when my
yes.
daughters it was funny, it was, like, right when they turned 7 months, they both the same day, within, like, 30 minutes of each other, I felt the first tooth coming in for each of them, and they both started crawling, and I was like, "What is happening?" It was too
Like,
much at once.
slow down. Were they pretty in sync with their milestones like that?
Generally, yeah. I would say, like, sometimes they would take turns with one taking the lead on some things more than the other, but they were always, like kind of eerily in sync. I'd say
Mhm.
the biggest gap we had was with walking, like, one
Mhm.
walked at around, like, 10.5 months, and the other one, like, right on her birthday.
Oh, I feel like 10.5 months is kind of early.
It is.
Yeah, that's you're like, again, slow down, please.
Yes, yeah, mommy needs a break.
Yes. Well, and I had pretty late walkers. My daughter was like, whatever you'd consider average. It was right around
And
her first birthday that she was taking steps, and my sons were 15 and 17 months,
okay,
which
yeah.
I will tell you as a twin mom, I wasn't mad about it. I'm like, "Let's take that. Let's take this slow, guys. It's fine."
See, I felt the opposite. I was so anxious when I would go to like library story times and I would see moms who were walking around with like the one baby who was learning how to walk. And I was like, how am I going to be able to do this with two of them? Like, I'm not going to be able to support them both at the same time. It doesn't feel fair, which, like,
Mm,
oh, such a common reverberating just message in the back of every twin mom's head. It's not fair. How am I supposed to do this? How am I supposed to balance it? And then it's like, God just like gifted me. Like one of them just like really quickly took to it. And then when
yes.
the next one was ready, she was just like ready. And I was like, okay, we don't actually have to figure this out at the same time. That's a blessing.
Right. Yes. Well, and it's kind of fun too when things end up being, like, easier than you hope.
Yeah.
So, that was, like, the case with my daughter and moving into a big girl bed. We were, like, prepared for it to be just, like, her coming out of her room and her not sleeping. No, it was so easy. Like, she just went right to sleep. We were like, "This is a miracle." I don't know
Amazing.
if it's gonna be the same with my boys, they're still in the crib, but
Yeah.
I can cross my fingers that hopefully it'll be easier than I expect.
The interesting thing with sleep is that so much of it just does come down to temperament. So, like, there's only
Mm,
so much that we can do. We can give children the exact same environment. I see this all the time with the families I consult with where, they have the exact same environment or they have multiple other children before they have their twins and they've done the same thing and yet they're getting all of these different outcomes. And a huge part of that is like understanding the individual temperament of each of your babies and how their sensory needs, just how their like nervous system priming might make them more resistant to certain things or more receptive to other things. So that was just a total aside. They might do great. They might need some support. If you need it, let me know.
yes. Well, okay, and let's get into that. So,
Yeah.
can you tell us about how you got the idea for nurturing twins and your motivation behind that and when you got it started?
Yeah, totally. So gosh, I guess it was just over a year ago. I decided to start sharing publicly more about my experience with raising my girls. And I had, like, just been using my own personal Instagram the way that everybody does, like sharing cute pictures. I don't share my kids online, so I wasn't sharing their faces, but everything but basically, talking about how we cloth diaper, talking about this, talking about that, whatever, sharing my life because it felt like a good outlet as a stay-at-home mom. And I had the opportunity to connect with several other twin moms, but I just felt like all of the things that mattered to me in my values in approaching motherhood, it was incredibly challenging to find any sort of resources that included twins, even not even twin specific, but
Mm,
even included twins. So
mhm,
my daughters have always been Velcro babies. They've always been higher support needs in several ways. And I also just having navigated I had a really difficult pregnancy. I had a HG in my pregnancy and,
I'm so
um,
sorry.
had a really complicated, frankly traumatic birth and a NICU stay afterwards, and so both for myself and my babies, it felt essential to do things in a way that felt incredibly aligned and not necessarily what I was seeing in all of the twin books that I was reading or the resources that I found online that were really emphasizing how I had to keep them on the exact same schedule or I had to have, a pretty clear set routine, multiple cribs, multiple containers, all of that good stuff. Just didn't resonate for me. And I was Googling basically from the moment that I found out I was having twins, how am I going to baby wear two babies? Like I had this
Mm,
vision in my head of, okay, I'm going to baby wear my baby when they want to sleep for naps and, maybe I'll get a crib, but maybe I'll let them sleep in my bed with me, like, I knew I wanted to breastfeed, but I didn't understand how any of these things were gonna be possible with 2 babies, and not only did I have my own internal doubts about this, but everywhere I turned, everyone that I met, every resource I found was just kind of saying like, "Don't get your hopes up too high." you know?
Mm, mm,
And I felt like twin moms deserve better than that. My lived experience is my own, and I have been able to have a really redemptive postpartum despite having such a hard start to our life together. Um, but part of that, it was very hard fought. It was not at all like, oh, I did this just because it was easy. Like, no, I fought for every single latch. I
mhm,
fought for building trust in my daughters with me again after what we endured with the NICU. I fought
mm,
for learning how to safely bed share with 2 babies when pretty much all resources tell you that that's not possible. Baby wearing, I figured out how to baby wear 2 babies, but again, I realized as soon as I was able to emerge from the cocoon really of the first year that I wanted to be able to alchemize my experience, not only share what had worked for me, but also to help bridge the gap for other twin moms and bring us together so that we could resource each other. Because
mm,
so much of what was so nutritive for me and my experience was not just, the things that I found online or the books that I read or whatever, but it was actually heart to heart connections with other twin moms who were saying, this is what worked for us. This is what I did. This is what I appreciated. This is what I found. And, synthesizing all of that together, putting it into practice, finding evidence-based research to support it,
mhm,
and sort of integrating all of that together. So Nurturing Twins was born just as a little Instagram page saying, "We'll see how this goes," just over a year ago, and now there's over 7,000 of us who've gathered to, share our perspectives on parenting our twins, on navigating sleep from a place of connection, on baby wearing and figuring out how to start solids and navigating tandem breastfeeding and all of the good things and all of the hard things, but we're doing it together and it's been so beautiful.
mm. I love that, and I feel like you were kind of touching on this, is there is a lot of negativity around twins, being pregnant with twins, like, "Oh, just you wait," which I just can't stand because
Yeah,
I like to approach it with a, "Oh, just you wait until you see their bond or until you experience the." Don't get me wrong, having twins is challenging, and there are moments where I find myself taking deep breaths, but overall, it is the most magical experience that I've had in motherhood. It's
totally.
beyond special.
Yeah, and you have the unique perspective of you already had your daughter first. Like twins were my first, so I only know twins. But you can probably speak to the reality that being a mom, no matter what, is hard, right? Like having one baby, navigating motherhood and the initiation of that for the first time is hard.
Mhm. You know what's crazy is my postpartum with my daughter was actually significantly harder than my postpartum with my sons, and
Mhm.
I feel like that was kind of my redemptive postpartum. I was very scared to have any more children after my daughter. She was born in COVID times. It was weird. It was
Yeah.
just a weird time. It was a weird time to be a mom. I was so isolated. And of course, having twins and having newborn twins was challenging in its own ways, but I just was so much, I was very supported and had community around me. And that really made quite a big difference. And it just echoes the importance of community. And
Yeah.
I really didn't have like that twin community yet. It was really like support from my family and friends and neighbors, which was amazing. And then now finding this twin community has been really special. I love my friends who have singletons. They're amazing. But there are some aspects of twin motherhood that they just can't understand. And one thing you were mentioning when you were talking about sleep and stuff, I, with our daughter was just terrified of anything. I was, to be quite honest, I was so afraid she was going to die. I had 2 miscarriages before her,
Mhm.
and I was so scared of anything. So
Yeah.
with sleep, I was, like, watching her, afraid she was gonna stop breathing, and it was so interesting with the boys when they were born, they were placed in separate bassinets, and they were scream crying, and we placed them together. Oh my gosh, I wish I would have gotten that moment on camera. They just melted into each other and they
Mhm.
stopped crying.
Turn
And
inward,
from
yeah.
that moment, we found a way that we were comfortable with for them to sleep together in a bassinet because they liked it. When we kept
Yeah.
them separate, they it was like they were so used to that contact that that's what their comfort was. So I love that you're providing the sleep guide so moms can figure out how to safely do things like that because however you want your motherhood to look can look that way. You're not placed into this box that you're separate. You can't do this, you can't do that just because you have twins.
Totally. Yeah. So much of the approach, just for all moms, but especially for twin moms, is fear based. And I would argue
Mm.
scarcity based, that there is not enough of you, that you don't have enough resources, time, breast milk, whatever it is. Like you don't have enough, whatever. Um, and it breaks my heart because truly the reality is we are living in a miracle. We are living in abundance. Like we have two babies that we carried, birthed, and are caring for, bringing into the world. And not only is their bond so precious, but the bond between you as a mother and them together, in the lactation world, they talk about the mother baby dyad, of how when you're approaching, you know, a mother and her baby in their breastfeeding relationship, that you're approaching three patients. So you're approaching the mother, you're approaching the baby, and you're approaching the mother baby unit as a whole,
Hmm.
because humans are exogestators. So after we give birth, our babies are not done gestating, they're not done developing. They actually need us as carry mammals to have them on our skin as much as possible, to attune to them, to give them the feedback that they need in order for them to develop properly. So when babies, we look at this with like Romanian orphanages and stuff like that, where when babies are not getting that caregiving consistently in this incredibly integral stage, we see massive deficits and
Hmm.
harm incurred. And the beauty is that when we the opposite is true, right? Like when we are present and attuned and connected with our babies, it's not only incredibly enriching and supportive for them to be able to develop the way that they're meant to, but it's also so incredibly enriching and supportive for us as mothers, like for mothers and fathers. But recently I was learning this and it kind of blew my mind. The areas of the brain that are active in infancy, like that are primarily being formed and developed, are the same areas of the brain that become incredibly plastic in the
Hmm.
parents during this phase of infancy. So, from
Hmm.
pregnancy through the first 3 years of life. And I don't think that's an accident. It's actually an opportunity for us, like we were talking about off camera, for us to be able to repair and work through maybe things where there were deficits in our nurture, not
Hmm.
blaming at all, but just the fact that, sometimes our experiences were not what they needed to be. But in our parenthood, in our motherhood, we have the opportunity to be able to revise and to buffer those systems that are really built around stress and context and memory. We're able to bolster them to have a more expanded stress response, to have more functional connectivity in the way is to be able to build more regulation skills. So I know that you probably don't feel like your brain feels the way that it did before you had your babies, and me either. And that is intentional. And you might not feel like you're as regulated as you would like to be, but the reality is as a mother, you are constantly co-regulating day and night with your babies for, the entirety of their infancy, whether you're intentionally doing so or not. You're teaching them, they're learning from your behavior and the way that you're responding to them. They're building their brains, and you're building yours too.
Yeah. So it's so interesting. I wasn't planning on sharing this, but I feel like I experienced some pretty bad mom rage after the boys were born. I feel like I overall was a good postpartum, but there were some moments, especially trying to manage a toddler and twin newborns, where I was so overwhelmed that I would snap. And then I was like, where did that just come from? That is not the mom that I
Mm,
want to be. And I did a lot of like introspection on like, what's going on here? This isn't like the motherhood that I want to live. I don't want everyone to be walking on eggshells around mom. Like, oh, when's she gonna snap? When's she gonna yell? That's not like how I wanted to do motherhood. So I really had to write a lot of mantras down and figure out how to move forward in a more positive way. And it was really interesting how much that I would think, like, if I'm almost 37, so this was a few years ago when my boys were newborns, but if I, as an almost 40-year-old adult, am having trouble regulating, then my toddler, who is 3, is really gonna be struggling. So it
Yeah,
just was an interesting time, and I had to do a lot of work because that wasn't the kind of mom that I wanted to be. So it's just such a good reminder that, like, if you're seeing those types of things, like, that isn't what your motherhood has to be like, and it can change, and you can evolve and grow and work on skills and apologize. We were talking about repair, and I feel like that has been a really big thing in our generation. I'm so thankful. Nothing is wrong with apologizing to your children. We're not perfect humans. If you snap or you say something that you wish that you wouldn't have, apologizing is modeling good behavior. Like, we all make mistakes, and apologizing, I think you said earlier off camera, like, apologizing doesn't make you weak. And in all other relationships, you repair them. That's what you do, and maybe in different generations, it wasn't seen that way. It was seen as weak for a parent to apologize to their child. So I love
yeah.
that's, like, a big shift that I feel like I'm seeing in our generation, our of parenthood.
Totally. Yeah, I think too, like, people worry so much about being consistent in their responsivity. And funnily, I used to work as a behavior therapist, like in the applied behavior analysis sort of world. I was pursuing a
Hmm.
master's in that before I was like, actually, this is not my calling. But it's like people feel like if I'm not consistently giving the same, it's like very like discipline minded, very much behaviorism, where it's like if I crack now. If I said that before, then these kids aren't gonna respect me. Whereas, like, the reality is if your adult brain, like you said, if your body is so overwhelmed that you're freaking out, their little bodies don't even have they don't even have the brain scaffolding or the infrastructure yet developed to even, like, have a logical thought in a good moment, much less when things are melting down. So, bringing ourselves back to that understanding and not even necessarily having to do any sort of big grand thing, but just instituting a pause. Like, I notice myself, I feel the heat rising in my chest. I'm feeling my, hands like, ugh, like the back of my head is feeling like, ugh. Take a breath, take a pause, orient yourself, feel your feet underneath you. Look around you, look at your little children. You love them with your entire heart. They're having a hard time. They're not giving you a hard time. Just verbalize what you're going through. Sometimes I like to like sing it. That sounds kind of silly, but like sometimes I'll
Nope,
just be
I
like,
totally
"Mama's
agree. I will start.
overwhelmed."
Yep.
Like it helps, and you know what? Too, that actually stimulates your vagus nerve, which is the biggest nerve in your body that travels down from your brain to your belly. That actually helps your body to chill and hit the rest and digest. And so, like, I'm a big fan of singing if you're freaking out. I'm a big fan of just stopping and saying, "Oh, man, mommy didn't say that nice. That's not how mommies are supposed to talk to their babies. I'm sorry. I was overwhelmed. Can you help me take some deep breaths? Or let's try it a better way. Let's say it a better way." It's so funny because like if my daughters are like being a little snappy with me, I'm like, "Hey, say it a better way." And so now they're mirroring it back to me as beautiful little mirrors do, and they're like, "Say it a better way." Like, "All right."
Like, okay, it's
Let's
working.
try it again?
I love the tip of singing. So, as I mentioned, when I was going through that period of kind of experiencing this mom rage, I was like, "Who am I? This is not me. How can I fix this?" And I was trying to look at all these, like, practical tips. One was absolutely singing. Like, what a great way to change your mood and everyone's mood and kind of make it like turning a really chaotic, overwhelming moment to be kind of like silly and kind of shake it off a little bit.
Mhm.
And sitting down really helped me. Like if I was standing up, I would like find a
Getting up.
seat on the floor.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm like I don't need to be in this like, I don't know, like this kind of posture where I'm like up and feeling enraged. Like, no, like let's relax the posture. Let's sit down if we need to. Let's play music. Let's sing. Those were all things that really helped me. And it was really wild. Like the times that I would snap and just absolutely regret what happened, I would look at the scene and be like, I only added chaos to the chaos. Did
Yeah.
yelling help? No, it just made everything significantly worse, actually. And then the times where I was able to, you don't have to respond right away. Like what you said, you took a pause. You're like, okay, and there were times too where I would be like, mommy has to go to the bathroom and I'm going to walk away for a minute and take a breath and then I will come right back and
Yeah.
then and do a reset. And in our house, we say, like, let's do a redo. So I would like the same thing. I'd be like, I didn't really like the way that that came out, my tone. Can I do a redo? So it's cute. My kids will do the same thing.
I
Like,
love
yeah,
it.
yeah. It's been fun to look back and just be like, okay, that wasn't the motherhood that I wanted. And that isn't the kind of person that I wanted to be. And I don't really know where that came from. Like, my parents weren't big yellers or like, I don't ever remember my
Yeah.
mom like having this. I hate to even call it mom rage, but I feel like that's the
That's the term
term.
that's often used. Yeah, part of it
Yes.
I
Yeah.
do think is just, like, we retreat back to fight or flight when we feel like we're kind of at the base of ourselves, and so early postpartum, it's so easy to be activated because, like, our bodies are coming off of a huge hormone cascade, like, crazy, crazy big, and, you know, you're depleted, like, physiologically. You might not be eating enough, you might not be drinking enough. I know you're not sleeping enough because who is early postpartum, you know what I mean? Um,
Yes.
so yeah, give yourself all the grace. I feel like any mom who claims not to have dealt with any mom rage is not being honest with herself because, motherhood unlocks a new layer of, just being, and that comes with incredible beauty and, like, a dark shadow as well sometimes, and being able to, like, witness that and to feel that in yourself and not give yourself blame, but instead to pause and reflect and, like, all of the strategies you've already mentioned to give yourself the grace and give your children the grace will help you to actually be able to shift from that, you know what I mean?
Well, and it helped me too, like writing things down, like having these mantras that I would say before the day. And I don't have to do that anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, you've already integrated them enough, and that's the
Yes.
cool thing about
Yes.
neuroplasticity is, like, that's the phrase that's used to describe how the brain can change itself in response to its environment, and most of the ways in which that is done are sort of automatic, they're not things you really think about. I like to describe it as, when you're trying to carve out a new pathway, it's sort of like when you're driving a new route somewhere that you've been before, maybe you haven't been before, and so you're kinda, like, looking around, you're like, "Was that my turn?" Everything is a little bit confusing. You're afraid you're gonna get lost, and then over time, you drive that route again, and it still feels uncomfortable. Maybe you're not even in your normal car, so everything feels a little bit weird, but the more that you practice it, one day you're driving that route and, like, you just, like, space out and you're like, "Oh my gosh, I'm already there." Like, I don't even remember getting there, you know? Like, our brains love, like, optimization just to
Hmm.
have a, like, set, "This is the routine, this is the way things go," and so, like, it's part of why we have so many of the common automatic thoughts that come up where if this was your norm for a long time, it's just gonna be kind of the way it is. It's a little like Pavlovian, like, I hear this or, like, I see this, I think about, I wanna have a soda or whatever, you know what I mean? And
Sure.
so carving out a new pathway is going to be more uncomfortable at first, and it's gonna take a lot more effort and repetition. And when we buffer it with oxytocin, which is the bonding hormone, which we get from giving of ourselves to our babies and being radically present with them, um, it makes it easier, and then one day, like you said, you wake up and you're like, "Oh, I can't even remember the last time I said my affirmations, and I don't
Yes.
need to anymore. I've already integrated them into myself. It's part of me now."
Mhm. Yeah, I feel like when I found out I was pregnant with twins, okay, so we used to all I was fine having an only child. Like, I had such a hard postpartum. I was an only child. So I'm like, yeah, we could have one. And then we would always say, for sure, one, maybe two, never three. Funny, right? So I feel like I had a lot of fear around managing three children coming from an only child household. How am I going to do that? I had three under three. So I feel like there was a lot of fear. So a lot of my affirmations were, like, I am a strong, confident leader. I was chosen to be their mom and I can handle their emotions. Their emotions don't scare me. Things like that really helped me to remember that I'm an I'm a calm, confident leader. I can help them through this. And me adding chaos to the situation is never going to help anyone regulate, including myself.
Totally.
So I feel like all those things really help me. And I love hearing the science behind like the neuroplasticity and all that stuff is so interesting that like you can learn new tricks.
Yes, you can, and that also goes back to even what you were talking about earlier about, having the realization, "This is not the mother I wanna be," like, it doesn't matter if your twins are 2 days old or 20 years old, like, you are still capable of choosing your motherhood and choosing the way that you're going to proceed going forward, you know? And so, I don't ever want someone to feel like, "Oh, well, because I did XYZ or, I blew up at them or maybe, I did something that felt out of alignment from the way that I want to mother. It's all ruined now. It's not. It's not ruined. You're still in relationship. And
Mhm.
repair is such a beautiful thing to model and to teach and to practice. It's just part of life. But when we learn how to do it in a way that is affirming of our children's dignity and affirming of, our relationship, it's incredible just how amazing everything begins to unfold, and nothing in motherhood is about perfection, it's really just about presence.
Yes, absolutely. And it's interesting now, like, I think you were mentioning this earlier, like, kinda like the psychological or the physiological when you're like, "Ooh, I'm feeling stressed. I can feel I'm getting warm. I can feel my heart racing." If I start to feel that, now I just know exactly my steps that I'm gonna do.
Yeah,
And I'm not perfect, but I have like, I'm proud of the improvement that I have had since the beginning of a mother of 3.
totally.
So, yeah, yeah, it's
It's so funny too, there's so many things where we feel like, "Oh, it's gonna take me so much work," and that's not something that's gonna be actually doable for me. If you do just some form of regulatory breathing for 2 minutes, you can set a timer on your phone. That has been shown to lead to a calm nervous system and a regulated nervous system for 2 hours. How many moms
wow.
would that just be life-changing to know that, "Okay, if I take 2 minutes of my day," I know that your day is so full. I know. You have 2 babies in front of you, and maybe you have other kids, and you have obligations and things. You can take 2 minutes every 2 hours to breathe. Whether that is while you're nursing your babies or while you're, you know, hiding in the bathroom, whatever it takes. 2 minutes.
I love all of these, like, regulation tips because that was a big thing to me, and I feel like I learned some of these in motherhood. I'm like, "Why didn't I have these, like, self-regulation tips when I was younger?"
You
Like,
probably didn't need them as badly as you do now because you
sure,
weren't
that's
responsible
that's
for
a good point.
building the nervous systems of other people. Like, this is
Yeah.
such a huge undertaking.
Yeah. Well, and motherhood is so humbling, right? I'm like, I thought I had it together. And then I'm trying to manage these 3 little people and losing my mind and need to figure out how to make this better. So
Yeah,
I love the taking deep breaths. And I feel like you were touching on this earlier is like you can talk out loud to yourself. You probably know better about this study than I do. But wasn't there a study where like, people were put into a dark room, and the majority of them, like, lost it and wanted to come out immediately, but one person talked themselves through it, like, "I'm in this room, I'm breathing, I'm safe," and he was able to stay in this room longer, so now, like, surgeons, pilots, etcetera, use these tools, like talking to yourself in these high stress situations, like why a surgeon will say, pass the scalpel and things like this. So they're talking out loud what they're doing, and it's supposed to be like a grounding
yeah,
tool.
guiding like, self-guidance or even just narration is incredibly grounding, and it's also very helpful as a mother just to be able to, you know, teach babies have a high amount of mirror neurons. It's really kind of where we do most of our
Mm.
social emotional learning. And twins actually have an even higher concentration of mirror neurons than singleton babies,
Oh,
which is really
really?
interesting. Yeah, but it makes
Yeah.
sense, right? They have each other literally as their mirror, right? They're
Hmm.
learning from each other. Neurologically, they tend to, you know, develop quicker on their social skills.
Yes.
Even if they're not verbal, they tend to have higher social development at an earlier age than singletons, and it makes sense. But the cool thing about that is that gives us, the ability to respond to others. And basically, yeah, it's how we learn how to integrate things in our bodies. Most of that is just through witnessing and mirror neurons taking it in. It's not necessarily even like playing it out. You might say something, narrate an experience, and then it's not until like 2 months later that you peek and you see your child kind of doing that. It's just really fascinating.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and it's been fun to touch on these like practical tips for regulation because I
Yeah,
feel like I had to like those things didn't come naturally. I had to learn those things. So if that can help a mom, and then I love hearing all the science behind like, oh, well, why does that actually work and why is that actually helpful? So I think that's so great, especially in like pregnancy. Like maybe that wasn't something that I knew that I even needed to prepare myself for.
yeah,
But looking back, if I could give moms tips, it would also be to like work on your self-regulation and have these tools even just like on the back burner so that you are ready to pull them out when necessary. So,
totally. Yeah, it brings me so much joy when somebody reaches out to me and she's like, "I'm like 16 weeks pregnant. I just found out I'm having twins." And I'm like, "Yay, you got in early. I'm so glad." Because
yes.
so many moms that I work with one-on-one, we're already having to undo so much of the internalized
Mm,
programming, like negativity, working through things that if we were on the front end preventatively, leading in with, okay, what are your values? What matters to you in terms of how you mother? How can I resource you to do that? Talking about regulation skills, you know that there are going to be two crying newborns. How are we going to, what is your individual temperament? How can we build in some supports for you and build your resourcing around you? Obviously, I can't be in person for every mom that I work with, but how can we build out your resourcing for your pregnancy and your postpartum so that you are not at the end of yourself, so that you have the tools? One of the moms in my community, you know, she has done such a beautiful job of constructing her, in real life village around
mm,
her by making sure that she had meal support for, an extended amount of time longer than she thought she should. Having, like a postpartum doula come and help her with latching her babies because, it's so hard to like tandem feed in the first early days. So she waited actually until after her husband went back to work to have that person come to help and serve as a buffer. And,
mm.
it's just, there's a lot of practical things that I want to offer people. I know I talk a lot on Instagram about sort of the philosophical leanings and the reasons, the why behind what I do. But, and obviously that's very important to me, but it's also important to me to help you to establish the mindset to reject scarcity, to embrace abundance, and then to see, okay, what does that
Mm.
actually look like? So, I actually have put together, there's this like 3-month program that we're doing within the Nurturing Twins Village called Embracing Infancy.
Oh,
And
cool.
essentially, it's just like a foundational, I don't even want to call it a reset because, again, my hope is to reach a lot of moms prior to having to reset, you know what I mean?
Yes,
Where
yes.
we are just building out the why, giving you the support that you need to build the confidence in every decision you make in your motherhood. Whether it is, I am confidently deciding I'm going to have a C-section. Like I want you to own every single decision that you make
Mm,
that you're able to make in your motherhood. I want you to feel confident and supported in those decisions so that you can mother with congruency. Like the moms
mm,
that I see who struggle are not necessarily the moms who are making certain choices. It's really just the moms who are making choices not from a place of congruency. And
mm.
so supporting you in being able to make the choices that matter to you. If breastfeeding matters to you, I want you to be able to do it for as long as it serves your mother baby triad, whether that is 2 months or 2.5 years, like we are over
Yes.
here. I
Yeah.
want you to be able to have a variety, a menu of choices to figure out what's going to work for sleep with you and your two new babies, whether that is having them together in a bedside bassinet or having two cribs in your room or having them both in your bed. Like, let's figure out what's going to make the most sense for your family at each and every stage. Yeah, I could go on forever, but my goal is just to build out the resources so that every mom who approaches the Nurturing Twins Village has the support and what she needs in order for her mother baby triad to thrive.
Well, and I feel like we were talking about this earlier. I had never heard the term mother baby triad or
I made it
dyad.
up. I made it up.
I love it. I was like, that
Yeah.
is the coolest thing ever. You need to like copyright that. That's
I guess I do. I probably should. I'm not a very good business person. So if somebody's listening to this podcast, please don't copyright that until I get a chance to do it. Yeah, no. So the mother baby dyad, again, it's really primarily used in like lactation medicine. But I felt like in my postpartum, I mean, in pregnancy, I felt so intensely connected to my babies to the point where I was afraid that when they came out, and especially when we endured, separation with the NICU and stuff, I was just like, how am I going to feel connected to them the way that I did when they were in utero? How am I going to be able
mm,
to meet their needs and for us to survive in our little ecosystem, especially after everything that we've been through? And I found the mother baby like dyad language and I loved that, but I felt like that neglected my lived experience of having two babies and also didn't even touch on the beauty and the magic of the twin bond. And so I was like, dyad, triad. Okay, let's do it.
I
Mother
love
baby
it.
triad. And frankly, it's my
That's
favorite thing ever.
fantastic. Yes, I feel like I saw that on your Instagram and was like, that is the coolest thing ever. I've never heard that terminology and like that needs to be adapted widely, like nurturing twins, copyright, mother baby triad. Love it. That coolest thing ever. I
Thank you.
really just like I'm like, can you hear it? I'm doing a
Yes.
round of applause.
Yeah, I wanted
Okay.
to give language to this experience because it's
Yeah.
so real for so many of us, and without words or representation of, what it's like to do these things, it can feel really isolating.
Yeah. Well, and okay, can you tell us more about your program and what that looks like? Is it like a
Yeah.
digital guide and then access to an online community? How does that work?
Yeah, so it's basically a 3-month, like, kickstart membership within to the
Okay.
Nurturing Twins Village. So the Nurturing Twins Village, it is a website, there's an app, you can just download the app
Oh,
and,
cool.
join, which is fantastic. Yeah, I wanted something that was definitively off social media, but still, like, you could access it easily from your phone. I don't like pulling up web browsers on my phone, I'm sure nobody else does. So I wanted something that had a functional interface for web and the phone that we could build things out on. And so what I love about it is I have the Embracing Infancy course within it. And this is programming that I've put together. It was really kind of the first thing that I made for nurturing twins. I was just seeing this deficit and the challenges that so many moms are dealing with the mindset side of things, and then also, like we talked about, the practical resourcing. And so I wanted to just put together as much of a comprehensive resource as I could that I could just say here to a new twin mom who is approaching me. And so this has evolved and now it has become a 3-month kind of intensive transformation where within the Nurturing Twins Village we always have the mothers circles monthly, and we will often have experts come in and do like tailored calls to like intensively resource our community. But
Mhm.
this is delving even deeper, and the goal of this embracing infancy transformation is really for you to emerge from this 90-day window as the most rooted, grounded, like supported and resourced version of yourself and motherhood that you have ever been.
Hmm.
So whether you are like 5 weeks pregnant with your twins or your twins are nearing the end of infancy, this is going to change your life. I am not being
Hmm.
dramatic. We have been working with some incredible trauma therapist.
Hmm.
I have an incredible like postpartum nutrition guide coming in to she's a dietitian coming to speak about navigating the tangible and the realistic side of
Mm.
things, and I will
Love
be
that.
leading the neuroscience and like mindset and heart work side of things to really just give moms the opportunity to take 3 months to really just delve into things for yourself. It's not gonna be like homework every day. It's more so of like, this is a snippet of some things for you to ponder today. And then this is a recording to watch. And then this is a live call you can join. These
Hmm.
are all little things that I want to give moms so that they're able to integrate all of these and then, like I said, emerge into the beautiful butterfly version of yourself you've always wanted to be.
I love that. That sounds like such a fantastic program and very thorough. I love that you also said there's like dietitian. I'm like, oh, that's so huge. Like how much
Yeah.
food affects us and how we feel. And a lot of times, part of the mom rage for me was probably that I was not fueling myself as I needed to
Yeah.
be.
Yeah, I mean, we can't talk about mindset if you're like your brain is starving, right? Like we gotta
Yes.
resource you from the ground up. And like most of the
Yes.
work that I do in just as I've been learning so much about how babies operate and then also how we as parents operate is like the quickest route to regulation is never like the headiest thing. It's actually just like the body solution. So like let's get your body right. Let's get your heart right and your mind right so that you can proceed in motherhood from an aligned place.
Right. Well, it's like that mind, body, spirit connection is so important. So I love
Totally.
that
Yeah. We don't
it's all
exist
integrated.
in, yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Like we don't exist in a vacuum. Like, yeah, I
Totally.
love that. And what about for your sleep guide? Is that like a similar
Yeah.
setup for the
Yeah,
program?
so, sleeping with twins was the culmination of work that I had put into a live cohort, that I was able to lead a group of women through back in the fall, and, basically I pieced together all of the literature that I could find on approaching sleep with twins and integrated that with infant neurobiology, my reflections on the mother baby triad, and then the practical logistics of mothering twins and how that pertains to sleep. So we talk about temperament in it. We talk about just the common challenges of, staggered naps. We talk about what is biologically normal and appropriate in terms of wakings and duration of wakefulness, and also like the ranges of how that can vary because you might have one very low sleep needs twin and one higher sleep needs twin. That's my experience,
Totally.
and
Same.
it's interesting.
My son Wyatt can like sleep all day. So the amount of times that my other son has woken up and I've had to like tiptoe in their room and like sneak him out so that we can go
Yeah.
play and that the other one can keep sleeping. I mean, so many times. So many times.
Yeah, yeah. So I wanted to like put together a resource that could just jam pack as much material that was relevant to sleep in for mothers and then give the practical guidance of okay, if you want to have them co-bed in a crib, this is what this could look like. If you want to have them in your room, so co-sleeping, the general term is actually just like shared space. So room
Okay.
sharing is the general definition for co-sleeping. Colloquially, people refer to co-sleeping as bed sharing, but bed sharing is not the only form of co-sleeping. So I wanted to give a comprehensive guide on just all of the different ways that you could do that because all the twin sleep resources I could find were mostly just about how to help them to navigate sleep in separate spaces, which just was not going to work for my family. And I knew that that was not a, a experience exclusive to myself. So for all of the moms who had been reaching out to me until that point, I wanted to be able to have a comprehensive guide. And so it's like over 100 pages and it's even longer now because
Wow.
I built in some new stuff for triplet moms too, which is just fantastic.
That's
Um,
incredible. 100
yeah,
pages of
yeah.
resources. Well, and I love how you're mentioning
Yeah,
like there's just like all these different options that that maybe moms aren't thinking about. So to have those
Mhm.
options available is just amazing.
Totally. Yeah, I think a lot of people feel like, "Oh, the only way for my baby to sleep is either, like, in the bed and I don't know how to do that safely or in a crib in another room." There's going to be dissonance and just hardship for moms that's unnecessary. So I wanted to be able to bridge that gap and give you it doesn't always have to look the same in every situation. And we've been very fluid over the last, what, 2.5 years with the different things that have worked for our family in different seasons. And so I wanted to be able to like resource moms in a way where you can literally pull this up and look at it on your phone or print it out if you want to or whatever. I wanted it to be as accessible as possible so that it can serve you through the entirety of infancy.
That's amazing, and 100 pages is so incredible, like, the amount of detail
What's
that you're
even
able
more
to
incredible is
provide.
the fact that the majority of that was written, like, while my babies were napping. Like,
I
as
am
a
so
stay-at-home mom
impressed.
who's working, it's like and most of the time, they will only car nap or nursing nap, and so it was like, I literally, like, have my phone here working on Canva, like, typing things. It was crazy.
Impressed. Well, and it's so crazy too, being a stay-at-home mom and then finding this need that was lacking and that you created it. Like, having the time to do that while you're solely watching your children, I mean, it's incredible. It's and hard. It's hard, you know?
Yeah.
So, hats off to you. That's incredible. And I love the detail and thoroughness that it sounds like you're able to provide. Just think it's so incredible that the embracing infancy and the sleep guide, like how you were able to do all of that while your girls were sleeping on you. I mean,
Yeah.
it's incredible, and the detail that you're able to provide to other twin parents. Like we were saying earlier, like just because you have twins, if you've envisioned your motherhood one way, you're not stuck in this box just because you have twins. And I love that a lot of the moms I've been able to talk to on this podcast saw that there was like a resource lacking and then they made it. And it's just so incredible. And
It's
I know it's
amazing.
hard. So,
But I feel like twin mom life, absolutely, like oh, twin mom life, the name of your podcast. It, like, equips us and builds out our capacity to be able to manage more things than we thought possible. Just
mhm,
always, like, I didn't think I could handle, having more than 1 baby at once. You didn't think you could handle having more than 1 baby and also your toddler all at the same time, and yet we're doing it, and not only are we doing that, but what I find is, just this expansiveness, and that's really the thing that I love to just try to leave moms with is, like, ultimately, you are not evidence of scarcity, you are evidence of abundance, you're living
mm,
abundance, you have twins, that's crazy, that's a miracle. The chances of having twins are so, so low, and you not only have done that, but you are also, like, caring for them and raising them in a way that is so beautiful and important, and so, like, of course you're capable, of course your capacity is
mm,
greater than you thought, you're constantly expanding, and you will continue to do so, like, the things that were so hard when they were 8 weeks old become doable when they're 4 months old, and then, like, hardly even a memory when they're 2 years old, you know what I mean? Like, it's just so
yes.
funny as they grow, we grow too.
Well, and I love the language that you use, like the scarcity versus abundance. Like it is so true. And yeah, like we can handle more than we think that we can. Twin moms probably don't give themselves enough credit. It's like you're doing better than you think. And
Yeah, it's also funny too, like, I don't know if you have this experience, but, like, if one of my girls is napping and the other one is not, or if one is, like, hanging out with daddy, I'm like, "Oh, this is so easy. I just have 1 baby." Like, I forget, like,
yes,
"Oh, man, I'm not just, like, a mess." It's just the fact that, like, I have 2 babies that are constantly, like, doing different things that I'm, like, having to fix all the things all the time, Like
yes, yes, 1,000%.
yeah, we can just give ourselves such a hard time, and it's like, you're actually doing way more than you realize you're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. And that your motherhood, whether you have twins or not, well, especially if you have twins, it can look like however you want it to be. And I love that you
Totally.
have resources for people who maybe thought that that wasn't possible just because they have twins. Like it's not impossible. And here is a very thorough 100-page guide to help you. So, so awesome. Just, yeah, really love hearing all your resources and the science behind it. Because I think it's important. That's personally how my brain works. Like, I've always heard that skin to skin, like, oh, yeah, you want to do that. That's good. But then hearing the science behind why, I think that's really cool and important for moms to know and understand also. So you're a wealth of
Yeah,
knowledge and I
thank
love
you.
it. Yeah. I'm like, we
It's
could
such
talk
a
all day.
joy.
There's so many
Truly, we
topics we
really could.
could.
There's so much we could talk about. Let's do another episode soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna
Let's do
say,
it.
my background was like I was always it's so funny to me because I felt like and I'm sure so many moms feel like this of like I didn't end up where I thought I was going to be with my career and things like that. And then now it's just like so beautiful how things have blossomed where I studied psychology and neuroscience in my undergrad and I was applying to doctoral programs and then I felt a really intentional nudge from God that was like, that's not your season right now. It's not like you have to do something different and pivot. And so I ended up pivoting entirely and working as a like one-on-one behavior therapist for like children with intellectual disabilities. And from that, I started pursuing a master's in that and thinking, okay, now this is it. This is it. And then had another massive pivot. And so it was just like I felt like there were so many things where it was like pieces of myself I was having to leave behind in the past and that I genuinely wanted these things. And then I became a mother and I was like, these things matter to me, but I have to put everything on pause because I have babies. And so now to get to integrate all of this, all of it, and not only serve my family, but serve all of these twin families is like such
Hmm.
an incredible thing. I'm completing this nurture neuroscience practitioner certification through Dr. Greer Kirschenbaum and Dr. Rocio Zunini.
Mm.
They're two like neuroscientists who focus on infant and maternal mental health. And so it's just so beautiful getting to integrate, all of these past pieces of myself into now this work that I'm doing with moms and babies.
Well, and it's incredible. Like your path led you to where you were just supposed to be. It just is hard to see
Exactly.
that at the time. Like if only we
Totally.
had a crystal ball. And it's like, I don't know, I feel like God knows the path that maybe we can't quite see, you know? So, I think that's
Totally. Yes. Yeah,
just
and
really
nothing is
special.
wasted. Like, every single even, like I said before, like, having such a, like, challenging start to, like, having such a hard pregnancy and having such a hard birth and having such a hard, like, early postpartum, like, all of that has allowed me to have such incredibly difficult experiences that I can then, like, help support other moms through. I can pull from these experiences and not just, maybe if I hadn't endured all those things, I wouldn't be able to, like, sit with somebody who has had a very difficult experience and to, support her the way that she needs or to say, "Oh, you've had Deemer? Me too. This is what helped me navigate that. You've had this, I can help you navigate that?" So, yeah,
Mhm.
nothing is wasted and we're doing better than we think we are.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, so where can people find you on Instagram? I will link all of that in the show notes, but can you say, like, your
Yes.
social media and stuff?
Yes, so you can find me at Nurturing Twins on Instagram. Nurturingtwins.com is officially up. I've been working my booty off in the wee hours of the night. And so that is where you can find that's why I need coffee. Seriously. I
Yeah.
always need coffee because I'm just like staying up all night working on my computer. It's fine. Yeah, nurturingtwins.com. You can enroll in this Embracing Infancy container that we're currently enrolling for. You can join the Nurturing Twins Village either for the year and get that experience, or you can just join for the experience and hang around and see what you think. I do one on one consults for twin moms who need any and all support. And yeah, get in my DMs. I'm here for you.
Yay, incredible. And if you could have a heart to heart with a twin mom or give her a piece of advice, what would you tell her?
I guess just what I keep saying is that scarcity is not your inheritance. You are
Mm,
living evidence of abundance. Give yourself the grace that you've been withholding because abundance is not missing from you. Like, you have within you everything that your babies need. And if you feel a lack there, it is not because you're not enough, it's because your resourcing is not enough. And I'm here to help
Hmm.
support you through that.
Hmm. I love that. And like I said, I just love the language that you use. It's incredible and it's specific and just perfect for twin moms. So, well, thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. That was so incredible, and I feel like I'm always learning something from your page. And
Thanks.
let's get mother baby triad copyrighted for you right now.
I need to figure that out probably, like, yesterday.
Yeah, that's incredible. Well, thanks so much. I really
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Thank you. It's been such a
Yes.
joy.
Thank you for taking the time out of your busy twin mom life to listen along. I hope this podcast shed some light on a topic that's been on your heart and gave you more confidence as a twin mama. If you know a twin mom, please send this her way. If you like what you heard today, please subscribe to the podcast and leave a review. Check out the show notes to be connected with today's guest and get discount codes for brands I love. See you next Thursday. Until then, you were made for this.